I feel this is a very practical way to share with you about dimensions of totality of symptoms. Have you all heard this word totality of symptoms?
Yes.
So you have some fair idea what is totality? The meaning of the word totality, what? What do you all mean by the word totality? Huh? Speak, you can sit and talk. Yes? Summation. Nice word. Summation is a very good word. Anybody else can say something more? Condensation. To condense. Anybody else? Yes?
Portrait of disease persisting characteristics.
The noise here is so much that I can't hear. The portrait what?
Of disease
Yes?
persisting of characteristic symptoms.
The portrait of disease consisting of characteristic symptoms. But what that has to do with totality?
So all the symptoms are included in the totality of symptoms.
Pardon?
All the symptoms are included in totality of symptoms.
Yes. So this is very important. If I ask 10 more people, 10 more people will give a very different views of totality. Somehow, when you use the word totality in homeopathy, people think we are discussing repertorization. Do you follow? Or we are talking about analysis and evaluation of symptoms. But today that is not the topic. Because totality has many meanings. Let me give you a simple example. Suppose if I open my computer and extract all the symptoms of belladonna as a remedy. Just extract. Do you follow? I will get some 2000 symptoms. Do you agree?
Yes.
Now that is also a totality. Do you follow?
Yes.
Now, if I have to understand belladonna, I will read this totality 500 times. And yet, I will not remember belladonna or I will not learn belladonna. Do you agree?
Yes.
Why? These are the symptoms of belladonna. And even if I remember, let's say out of hundreds of symptoms, if I remember only 20 symptoms of belladonna, do you really think it will help me to apply those symptoms to the patient? So this is the biggest stumbling block in homeopathy, that when you study a remedy, when you learn a remedy, numerical totality or abstraction of the symptoms from the repertory, because that's what computer will do for you, is not sufficient. And so I have written multiple articles on that. This is about 10-20 years back. I wrote an article that the dimension of totality of symptom, its application to the study of materia medica. The study of materia medica should be in such a way that you can apply the knowledge in identifying the remedy in the patient. If you are unable to identify the remedy in the patient, then you are a failure. Now, who will help you to identify the substance of the remedy? Not the substance means the source, but the substance of the proving or substance of the extraction from the repertory. Anyway, either you look at the proving or either you look at the extraction from the repertory. So I made this exercise taking anacardium as one of the examples. Now, there are two ways. If I have to apply something to materia medica which I already know, I can also come to nashik and say, this is what I say, accept it. It becomes an authority, right? But how much will you learn? Because in the next medical school, some other teacher will say, I say this, correct? Third medical school will say, I say this. And so at the end of the day, you will have 100 people who will say 100 things. And if there are 500 colleges, 500 teachers will say, and so again you will be confused because then it comes exactly to the extraction of the rubric from the repertoire. Do you follow? Which we don't want because abstraction is such a dry thing, you will not learn anything. Do you follow what I mean? So I would rather go to a method where I will say, okay, we have to apply the knowledge to identify the remedy in the patient, but we will take the ideas from different angles. Now what are those different angles, what are those ideas will be the essence of today's lecture. Do you follow? Keeping anacardium in the center. Now, one of the worst disadvantage of applying materia medica from the repertory is, so I have taken anacardium over here and I have extracted the symptoms over here. You know what is the biggest disadvantage? You will not know which symptom is important and which is not important because repertory gives you 3 marks, 2 marks and 1 mark. Am I right? And somehow it has been told to us what is 3 marks is more important and what is 1 mark is not so important. Yes or no?
Yes.
So what is the human mind tendency? Oh, it is 3 marks. Do you agree with me? So that's wrong because sometimes even a 1 mark symptom is extremely important to apply the remedy ideas into the patient. Do you follow what I mean? Secondly, not all the provings or not all the sensation have been transformed into rubric and put into the repertoire. So there are many things still remaining in the proving which has not come in a rubric form. Do you agree? Do you agree what I mean? Number 3, the situations at the time of proving cannot be converted into a rubric form. Let me give an example. When puja was proved, the provers felt that somehow they are extremely delicate, fragile, made up of glass, thin, and so if somebody comes near me, I will be damaged. Do you follow?
Yes.
So looking at somebody coming towards me, I develop tremors and I develop twitching on my body. Looking at, the person has still not come towards me. But as he comes closer and closer and closer, my twitching and trembling becomes much more exaggerated, till the time when he comes very close to me and wants to shake hands with me. It is the worst part, because now I know I will be totally destroyed. Do you follow? Have you understood this situation? That was in proving. Now, when we extract the symptoms of puja, can we see that in repertory? Exactly. So what we will see is things in piecemeals. Am I right? Twitching, trembling, delicate, made up of glass, small. Now even if I put those things, does it give you any meaning? When I put those symptoms together, or what I explained to you just now, which has been given in the proving, that makes your sense. Yes? Which one? Proving or repertory? That is why repertorial totality is no useful when you apply to the patient. But we have been told one way of learning Bhattacharya Medica is from repertory. Correct?
Yes.
Very good. This I was also told. But don't do that. Don't do that. Because you will lose so many. And let's put it that way, I am just talking about physical symptoms just now of twitching and trembling. What about dreams? In Nectrum Self, there is a wonderful dream which Prover explained. That he was invited in a party. He was invited in a party. There were people around him. They were all enjoying. And then one of the persons said lot of mean things, you know, mean, lot of mean things to the person which really hurted him. That was the dream. Do you know what repertory gives you? Dreams of parties, Nectarum Self. Does it explain you? Does it explain you?
No.
Second dream is dreams of insult, Nectarum Self. Does it explain you? No. So that is why the whole dream analysis of rubric will never exactly tell you what were the feelings, what were the situations in the dream. So repertorial extraction basically, honestly, becomes something like to refer and confirm certain things rather than to learn something from. So you can use it as a confirmatory index, but not as a learning, where you want to really apply the totality to understand a remedy and identify the patient. Now another way which is misleading, which I want to talk about, is the expert system. And repertory trying to explain to you small remedies, big remedy, medium remedies, correct? Some of the symptoms, just adding the marks. All this is extremely confusing because this will never allow you to understand the remedy. So you analyze the case and you click on the button and say sum of the symptom, means all the marks are being added and that remedy comes number one in the analysis. Do you follow? Do you really think it is the remedy for the patient? No, many times or most of the time it is not the remedy. I have selected 36 number remedy, 42 number remedy, 29 number remedy, 18 number remedy from the totality in some of my best cases, and not the number one remedy. And why? Because number one remedy does not explain the essence of the remedy, and that is why you will miss out a lot if you are a very strong believer of totality of symptom and directly apply that to identify it. So this is another way. So then what is the good way? So the first good way is to make themes out of the symptoms. Do you follow what I mean? So let's say, now we are learning today anacardium, correct? So I took 3 symptoms from anacardium which you can read in green color. What does this theme talk about? Abuse, abuse and abuse, correct? Correct? But the problem is that on one hand you will accept that in anacardium there is an abuse, correct? But when you make a theme like this, there is another danger, how to differentiate them. Now let's say, first rubric is ailments from abuse after being, correct? I open the repertory. Ailments from abuse after being. How many remedies are there? Now somebody will ask me, Dr. Master, how do I differentiate Ambragracia abuse from anacardium abuse? Yes or no?
Yes.
Anybody can ask me, no?
Yes.
And you know what the answer I will give? I will say I don't know. Why? Because you have taken a concept of abuse in general. And when you take something in general, you cannot then do further division. So never ever try to make a concept. You can make a concept, but if you keep on making concept as a routine practice, you won't be able to differentiate remedies. So there is a second thing, abuse sexually. Can you see that?
Yes.
So we will take ailments from abuse sexually. So in the first rubric, how many remedies were there?
58.
Now look. 45. Do you still think I can differentiate sexually abused? No, sexually abused is sexually abused. Correct? If you say Steffi's area का क्या sexually abused था, Natramule का क्या था? I cannot. I just cannot. The remedies have reduced. I am trying to now make it more particular from general. But look, I am a failure. Third. In children, now I am narrowing down to children. How many remedies?
16.
How many?
160.
60. Now if you ask me, please tell me platina and medorinum abuse. Difficult. So themes are good if you apply them as a general. Themes are extremely bad if you need to differentiate. Because this is where you will be confused. So suppose if I take theme of mortification or insult, correct? And you will tell me, sir, differentiate between Natramure insult and Staphysagrina insult. I won't be able to differentiate that. Because an insult is an insult. So whether the insult was in the auditorium or in the classroom, do you think the effects are going to change? No. So you will need many more things to justify that insult. Do you follow? Similarly, you will need many more things to justify the abuse. So lack of differentiation is the biggest blow when you start making themes. But you can make themes in the beginning of your life as a new practitioner, as a young doctor. It is okay. It will at least bring you to 58 drugs out of 5,000 drugs. So in that way I am very happy. Do you follow? Because homeopathy has got so many drugs, correct? It brought you to 58. Then you became little specific, it brought you to 48. Then you still became little specific, it brought you to 16 or 14 remedies. So good, I am very happy. Your right remedy comes from one of those things. But still, we cannot give 16 drugs at the same time. We need to give only one. And that is why we need many more things from the totality to reach to the right remedy. Do you find this lecture interesting or boring, or you are feeling sleepy? Okay, then I will continue. So then, after the theme, there is another way. So let's say I made a theme of abuse, correct? And as I said, after abuse, I could not differentiate much, correct? From abuse I went to sexual, from sexual I went to now I want more. Okay? So what I do? I collect rubrics in a group. So this is a very interesting part of totality. And one is punishment, rudeness of others, and violence. Now why did I make this group? Any idea? Do you see something common in them? So I started making group based on the concept which I had taken initially. So what was the concept? Abuse. So punishment is the best part of abuse. Then rudeness of others. All the time you are meeting your best friend and the opposite person is very rude to you all the time. What is this? She is abusing the relationship. A dominating husband will all the time talk rudely to the wife and put her down, put her down, put her down. What is this? He is abusing the... And last is violence. Violence is the last part of every abuse. Last part. So I bring group of symptoms that will support my finish the sentence. That will support my theme which I initially created. And now see what happens. Now what did I do? Why did I take elements from grief, domination, mortification? Why I took this? Any idea?
Reactions to abuse.
Pardon?
Reactions.
Reactions. So it is the reaction of the abuse.
Yeah.
What is the reaction of an abuse which suppress anger, anticipation, contradiction?
Sir, if someone is abusing the body.
No. The third part represents the sensitivity. Only if you are sensitive, you will have the following rubrics. Read the rubrics. Anger anger suppressed, anticipation, contradiction, fright, grief, domination, and mortification. These are the core sensitivity of anacardium as a remedy. So now, once you know the sensitivity of the remedy, let us go to anacardium. Okay? I gave you some background idea. Okay? So, if I have to now form a totality to identify, the first will be the important delusion. Devil is speaking in one ear and angel in another, and which is prompting the person to murder or act of benevolence. ये साला गांडू का खून कर ले, ये काम से, ये बेचारे को मदद कर, लंगड़ा है, उसको कंधे पे उठा दे, थोड़ा आगे चले साले को मार दे, इधर का इधर उसका खून कर दे, खत्म कर दे, कान के नीचे एक मार झापट, दूसरा कान से आवाज आती है, बेचारे को पानी पिला, ठंडा पानी पिला, कोक पिला, प्रोटेक्ट करो। पता नहीं चलता क्या करना चाहिए, मर्डर या एक्ट ऑफ बेनेवोलेंस। दिस इज द कोर टोटलिटी ऑफ anacardium. So, there is a contradiction between the reason and the will. He has two wills, one commanding and other forbids. So this kind of behavior invites another group of symptoms, and that is sense of duality. There's a lot of duality in anacardium because there's a contradiction of will to begin with, and the contradiction is between reason and the will. Do you understand what I said, all of you? There is a contradiction between reason and will. Who will explain this line to me? मैं कभी कभी लिखता हूँ लेकिन मेरे को खुद को भी आता नहीं है. So I ask students and they tell me the answer, and that is how I learn. Will you teach me? तू सिखाएगी बेटा मेरे को? Feels contradiction between reason and will. ये reason क्या है और ये will क्या है? इतना भी समझा दिया तो मैं समझ जाऊँ.
He wants to do something.
Yes.
From heart is the will.
Yeah.
And reason कि किसी ने मुझे बोला है ये सही है, ये करना है, is the reason.
will तो मैं थोड़ा बहुत भी समझा तेरा explanation, लेकिन मैं थोड़ा दब्बू हूँ, सो मेरे को रीजन नहीं समझ में आया, सॉरी। थोड़ा आप अच्छी तरह से समझाइए। बोलो बोलो।
पहले इसकी कुछ मतलब मुझे कुछ करना है, बट मुझे ये क्यों करना है, इसका रीजन मुझे ये क्यों करना चाहिए, मुझे ये क्यों करने का मन है, देयर शुड बी अ रीजन बिहाइंड डूइंग समथिंग और बिहाइंड हैविंग अ विल टू डू समथिंग। सो वो क्यों करना है वो जानना है, इसका रीजन।
मैं थोड़ा बेटर समझा, एटलीस्ट इससे थोड़ा बेटर समझा, लेकिन मुझे और अच्छी तरह से समझाए ना प्लीज। Anybody? So you all, most of you don't know what I talk, and please don't do that. अगर समझ में नहीं आ रहा तो हाथ ऊंचा करो, मैं आंसर दे दूंगा आप लोगों को। So what is the most powerful thing in human body? हाँ? जोर से बोलो। Wait. Will. Will. And if I say thought, human thought, and if I say human thought, will I be wrong? Then I'm asking you, you say yes or no? No. Anybody says yes? So the most powerful thing is a human thought. मैं तो will के ऊपर भी जाता हूँ पहले। I am meeting the great grandfather of will. Okay? मैं वहाँ से सिखाऊंगा तुम लोग। So if तुम्हारा understanding इतना पक्का हो जाए कि for next 100 years of your life you will not forget it. Now thought है, correct?
Yes.
The definition of human mind is bundle of thoughts. Do you agree?
Yes.
अगर मैं थॉट्स को एक बंडल में बांध लूं तो तुम्हारा माइंड हो गया ना, सेव पूरी की तरह। करेक्ट? अभी सेव पूरी का पैकेट में कितना सेव है, कितना ममरा है, कितना चिवड़ा है, कितना चटनी है, कितनी मिर्ची है, कितना मसाला है, हाँ या ना? लेकिन सब थॉट्स होते हैं, वो सब एक्शन में तो कन्वर्ट नहीं होते हैं ना? Do all our thoughts turns into action? अगर होता तो मैं कितना लकी होता। Don't you think? आज मेरी शादी कटरीना कैफ से हो गई। Thought turns into action. Who is your favorite actress? No. Your? Who is Amita? Who said Amita?
नहीं, इधर सनी लियोनी।
क्या बोला?
सनी लियोनी, सनी लियोनी।
लियोनी। अपना टेस्ट को चेंज करो भाई। Okay. Now no joke, okay? Serious study. So, not every thought turns into action, correct? But some thoughts do turn into action, yes? And when these some thoughts turn into action, repeated action invites behavior. Do you agree?
Yes.
Repeated behavior turns into habit. Do you agree? And repeated habit turns into character. Do you agree?
Yes.
But it all starts from?
Thought.
So then after thought,
Behavior.
action.
Action.
Then?
Behavior.
Then?
Habit.
Then?
Character.
Superb. Now, who is allowing you to do all this from impulse to character?
Thought.
Will. अरे क्या thought? The will. Do you follow? Will is the boss, big boss. You follow? ये तो हो गया will. अभी will समझ में आ गया? Now reason. ये reason बड़ा तगड़ी चीज है. Now what do we do when we talk with each other? in a normal way, we always ask why. Kyun? Correct? So what is the difference between the why, when we ask the question why, you want to know the reason, correct? You came late in my class, correct? I said, why are you late? Tell me the reason. So what reason becomes for you? Justification. Very good. Reason becomes the justification or the intention. समझ में आया? So that has nothing to do with the will. Will के साथ उसका कोई लेन देन नहीं है. But reason is one thing which the will takes opinion from before allowing the thought to turn into action. Correct? So let's say कि thought है कि wrist watch को चोरी करना. Correct? एक thought है ना भाई. Will बोलता है कर ले, पकड़ा जाएगा तो मार भी इतना खाएगा. That's the reason. और नहीं पकड़ा जाएगा तो चोर बाजार में बेच देना, 100 रुपया मिलेगा, डोमिनो में जाके पिज्जा खा लेगा. That's another reason. Correct? और आज नहीं पकड़ा गया तो हर सैटरडे कुछ ना कुछ या हर थर्सडे कुछ ना कुछ चोरी करना, साईं बाबा का नाम लेके पैसे वाला बन जाएगा. Reason. So this is reason. That was the will. And there's a contradiction between the reason and will. That means will को मालूम है कि साला पकड़ने वाला और मार खाने वाला है, फिर भी will गलत ऑपोजिट रीजन सोचेगा, जा जा कर. या तो रीजन को वो सोचेगा ही नहीं और सीधा will एक्शन में आ जाएगा. वो कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन हो गया ना. बिकॉज will को मालूम है कि हर चीज रीजन हाँ नहीं बोलने वाला है, रीजन ना भी बोलेगा, will सुनता नहीं है. इसीलिए एनाकार्डियम का बिहेवियर जो है वो सडनली वायलेंट हो जाएगा. अभी बर्थडे केक काटता है और सडनली केक लेकर गर्लफ्रेंड को फेंक दिया पूरा डब्बा. बोलते किस खुशी में, फिर कोई स्टूपिड रीजन निकालेगा लेकिन इम्पल्सिवली तो केक डाल ही देगा उसके मुंह के ऊपर. या तो जो छुरी से केक काटा है वही. कॉन्ट्राडिक्शन टू द रीजन. Have you all understood my explanation very clearly? Yes. So anacardium has no control over the will. And he suffers from mental schism. देखो बात लिखा है, थर्ड लाइन पढ़ो. He suffers from mental schism. There are moments in which he enjoys doing harm, yet is then overcome with the guilt. He is very happy throwing the cake on the face of his girlfriend, but after the girlfriend says, कल से मेरा मुंह नहीं देखना, उसका guilt चालू हो गया. But that moment he thoroughly enjoys. So what I want to tell you is, the right word in the English language is disinhibition. That many times we feel like throwing the cake on the mouth of the person, but we inhibit ourselves and control ourselves. Because केक गंदा था, केक मांस मारता था. You follow what I mean? I'll tell you a real incident. I have one very obese very obese boy coming to my clinic. He's psychologically disturbed. So I advised him that he should go to a dietitian and knock down some weight. He did it very nicely. एक दिन क्या हुआ? He starts from his house thinking that he will go to dietitian. He goes to the cake shop. Listen. And the cake shop guy 1 kilo का cake लिया. The cake shop guy says, what do you want me to write on it? And he says, fuck dieting. Now that guy refused to write the word fuck dieting. So he said, give it to me. The खुद ने fuck dieting लिखा. He clicked the photograph and he WhatsApped me. मैंने asked him, तो ऐसा क्यों किया? बोला पता नहीं, बस मुझे अच्छा लगा. And then he of course ate the whole cake and finished it off 1 kilo. I said, एड़ा है क्या? This is what is anacardia. This is what is anacardia. घर से निकलता है, डॉक्टर के पास जाने के लिए जाता है पेस्ट्री शॉप में, गंदा गाली लिखता है, फोटो लेता है, पता नहीं किसी कितने को भेजा होगा उसने ये फोटोग्राफ, and then he feels very bad about it. Of course, then he regrets it. So this inhibition syndrome is a part of anacardia. वो अपने impulses usually disinhibit नहीं कर सकता. अगर उसको वो टाइम पे करना है तो करना ही है, छोड़ेगा नहीं. So control and loss of control is a very important aspect. And when he becomes angry, he is so angry, so violent, like a rage. He could have stabbed somebody. This is the dark side of anacardia. And then when he is guilty, he regrets. So sometimes when he does something good, his morals are very strong. Sometimes when he does something bad, his morals falls down. So there's a constant battle between good deeds and bad deeds, good deeds and bad deeds, conflict. Now why this is happening? Because there is a delusion in the remedy under superhuman control. Delusion is under superhuman control. Can you see that? Can you see that? So he is under influence of superhuman control. Now what is super and what is human? Not Superman, the comic series. Superhuman means somebody who is eternally powerful, like God, like Guru. But if you go to a little lower category, school teacher, school principal, क्रिकेट टीम का कोच, फुटबॉल टीम का कोच. Then if you still go to a lower category, friend, still lower category relative, anybody can be a superhuman. Somebody who is strong, somebody who has authority, and somebody who has a power. And Anatharium always feels that he is governed by that. I'll tell you a very nice case. I had a man who came to me with gonorrhea. This is a very old case. When I asked him what happened, and he said, I went to prostitute with my friends just for fun, just for exploring, just for an adventure, and I got this infection. Are you married? Yes. Have you children? Yes. Where is your wife? In Calcutta. Where are your children? With my wife. What are you doing in Bombay? Job. How old are you? 35 years old. What do you want me to do? I want you to cure my gonorrhea. Why don't you go and take an injection? In 3 days you will be better. Everything will be cured. No. I don't want allopathic medicine, I want only homeopathy. But I want that you should not tell anybody. I said, but I don't know you, and I don't know your wife, and I don't know your children, and I don't know where you stay in Calcutta. And why should I tell everybody? No, you give me a promise. I said, okay, I give you a promise. Okay? There is no superhuman being controlled, right? I said, why don't you work in Calcutta? He says, I don't like to go to Calcutta. I said, but you are born in Calcutta. He says, yes, but I don't want to go back to Calcutta. I said, are you angry with Calcutta? And he said, yes, I am angry with Calcutta. I said, what happened with you in Calcutta? I come from a very small village. My father is a farmer. My father had many children. We had a lot of poverty. And I hardly had any schooling or primary education. When I was doing some primary education, my father used to make us work in the fields, and then in the evening he will send us to a school, which was a village school, not a proper school, sitting on the ground below the tree, and the teacher teaching us. And I was so tired that I could not concentrate much because I was helping my father in the fields. And if I get less marks, my father used to hang me upside down from the tree and beat me with a leather belt. My father was very cruel and violent towards me. Who is the Superman? Did he have any control over his father? Young boy. One fine day he beat me black and blue. I left the village. I ran away. And I came to Bombay. I knew no one in Bombay. Spent days on railway stations. Did some odd jobs in restaurants, cleaning the vessels, filling the water. Slowly I educated myself, and then rest is a history. He said, from that day onwards, I don't like to go to Calcutta. I only went to Calcutta 3-4 times in my life. Once to marry and once when my mother died. But I don't talk with my father. Do you follow? So So we now go into the depth of the case and identify more about superhuman being and the conflict between will and reason. So he said that I don't meet my wife, I don't have sex with my wife. So I started smoking and drinking alcohol. Now whenever I did something wrong in my life, there were two wills. Don't do it. Other part says do it. And every time the devil wins. So for alcohol the devil wins. Then for smoking the devil wins. For prostitution the devil wins. And every time after winning of the devil, I go into depression and I feel guilty why I do it. And next weekend comes Saturday and Sunday where I have nothing to do because my office is closed. I again start drinking. I again think of prostitutes. I again want to smoke quite a lot. After 3-4 years of this kind of life, he develops hypertension. Then he develops obesity because he was eating all the food from the restaurants. And hypertension, obesity, and now gonorrhea. And he says ever since I have developed gonorrhea, I get so bad visions of various things. They are trying to attack me. They are trying to destroy me in that visions. Now they are not dreams, they are the visions. Do you follow? So you can put them under delusions. The case was typical enough again. Within 6 to 8 months of treatment, I could cure his hypertension. Gonorrhea went away within first few months only. But this is how the conflict starts. Should